All right, let's unpack this. Imagine yourself, right, in the shadows of this crumbling villa just outside Rome. Dawn's breaking, June 9th, 68 AD.
Barely any light, just mist everywhere.
Exactly, and the air is just thick with, fear, desperation, and through this rotten door, you hear him, the most powerful man in the world,
Emperor Nero.
sobbing like a child,
Yeah.
and he's muttering, his voice cracking, Qualis artifex perio.
What an artist dies in me.
Yeah.
Even then.
Even then, this is Nero Claudius Caesar Augustus Germanicus, fifth emperor, the guy who, well, kicked his pregnant wife to death, castrated a boy to replace her, watched Rome burn while writing poetry.
It's quite the list.
It is. So what does it all mean for you, listener? How does someone with that much power end up so pathetic?
Well, that's the fascinating journey here, isn't it? We're going to trace those threads, the ambition, the paranoia, the unchecked power, right from his birth to this really ignominious end. Our mission, if you like, in this deep dive is to sort of unravel how this teenage sociopath maybe first got that taste of blood and how those early experiences shaped the monster he became.
It's such a stark contrast, imperial power, and then just utter degradation.
Exactly.
And it's such a dark journey. You really have to understand where it began. Not just his birth, but the poisonous environment he was born into. Lucius Domitius Ahenobarbus, that was his original name, born December 15th, 37 AD in Antium. And people later said, the dawnlight hitting him that morning foretold his fiery nature.
And that fire, it definitely ran deep in the family. If you look at the bigger picture, his mother, Agrippina the Younger, well, she was arguably the most dangerous woman in Rome.
Caligula's sister, Augustus's great-granddaughter.
Right. That combination, imperial blood and just ruthless ambition. She'd already been exiled for plotting, supposedly buried a husband under suspicious circumstances. She was scheming for her son's throne from day one, basically.
And his family tree, it reads like a catalog of violence. Great-great-grandfathers showing off severed heads. His grandfather gouging out a knight's eye in the forum.
That's unbelievable.
So considering that gruesome background, and his own father's chilling words at his birth, Gnaeus Domitius Ahenobarbus, said, nothing that was not abominable and a public bane could be born of Agrippina and myself.
Prophetic, right.
Incredibly prophetic.
How much was Nero just destined by his bloodline, and how much was it his equally ruthless mother pushing him?
That's a great question. The fire in his blood was there, sure, but Agrippina's active, ruthless ambition, that seems like the real engine here.
Yeah.
His early life was tough. Father died, Caligula took their money, Agrippina got banished. He ends up with his aunt and, a dancer and a barber for tutors.
Hardly the imperial upbringing.
No, but maybe it just fueled Agrippina's drive even more. She wasn't one to accept defeat.
Definitely not. Caligula gets assassinated in 41 AD. Her uncle Claudius somehow becomes emperor, and she sees her chance. She seduces her way back, marries a rich guy, Crispus Passianus.
Who then conveniently dies.
Exactly, leaving her his fortune. Then she aims higher Emperor Claudius himself.
But Claudius was married to Messalina, infamous even by Roman standards.
Legendary appetites, yeah. But she messed up badly. Had a marriage ceremony with her lover while still married to Claudius. Big mistake.
Whether it was just drunken stupidity or a real coup attempt, who knows? But it gave Agrippina her opening. Messalina was executed.
And Agrippina moved right in. Claudius, this older, stammering, maybe slightly clueless emperor, completely smitten by his niece.
Roman law said no uncle-niece marriage, but hey, emperor's rules, right?
Right. Laws become suggestions. They married in 49 AD, and young Lucius, now 12, watches his mother become empress. The path is clear.
His path to power is set.
And Agrippina doesn't waste a second. Gets Claudius to adopt him, changes his name. Nero Claudius Caesar, Drusus Germanicus.
Phew!
It's quite the mouthful.
Yeah. At 13, he gets the toga of manhood. At 14, proclaimed heir over Claudius's own son, Britannicus.
Ouch. For Britannicus, definitely. And at 15, Nero marries Claudius's daughter, Octavia. Checkmate, really.
But Agrippina wasn't done. She was impatient. October 54 AD, Claudius sits down to dinner.
And doesn't get up. Officially, stomach problems from mushrooms.
Right, mushrooms. Everyone knew Agrippina had finally run out of patience.
Poisoned mushrooms. Some stories even say the first dose wasn't enough, so they got a professional poisoner, Locusta, to finish him off with a feather dipped in toxin down his throat.
Grim. Claudius dies in agony, and Nero, just 17, is suddenly master of the known world.
Incredible, isn't it?
And at first, it seemed like maybe he'd be different. The early signs were, well, promising, or they looked that way.
Yeah, his first acts seemed okay. Mercy, wisdom. That famous line when asked to sign a death warrant.
How I wish I had never learned to write. Sounds good on paper.
Very good. He lowered taxes, gave out gifts, promised to be like Augustus.
So what kept him in line initially?
Well, that's the interesting part. For the first few years, he had these three powerful advisors kind of holding the reins. His mother, Agrippina, obviously, his tutor, the philosopher Seneca, and Barus, the Praetorian prefect.
The head of the imperial guard, big deal.
Huge deal. And this trio, they managed to keep his worst impulses in check. That's why they call it the quinquennium Neronis, the 5 good years.
Relatively speaking.
Relatively speaking, yes. It shows how important those checks can be, right? Even for someone like Nero. But people close to him, like Seneca, they saw the cracks. Seneca apparently dreamt he was teaching Caligula again.
Oof. That's not a good sign.
No. And it proved prophetic because those restraints didn't last.
Because while he's talking mercy in public, in private, he's already plotting murder number 1.
His stepbrother, Britannicus.
Claudius's actual son.
Yeah.
A potential rival, even though the kid was only 14. Quiet. No ambition.
But Nero was paranoid. His existence was enough of a threat.
So at a palace dinner, bang! Poison wine, courtesy of Locusta again.
Poor kid starts convulsing, collapses, foam at the mouth. Dies right there in front of everyone. Horrific.
And Nero just carries on eating. Says, oh, it's just an epileptic fit. Have the body removed. Let's continue dinner.
Chilling. Absolutely chilling. That's the monster learning, isn't it? Getting a real taste for his power.
Yeah, the mask is slipping already.
And Agrippina. Well, she hadn't put him on the throne just to let Seneca and Burrus run the show. She'd tasted power she wanted in.
Right. She started making demands, consulting on everything, sitting next to him in public, wanting her face on coins.
Exactly. But Nero's a teenager now, emperor. He wants the fun parts of power. The chariots, the stage, the sexual freedom. Not his mom telling him what to do.
Enter Poppaea Sabina.
Yes. Pommaea, wife of his friend Otho. She was everything. Agrippina wasn't young, gorgeous, sensual, and completely amoral.
And she starts whispering in his ear, right? Telling him he's not really emperor while Mummy's pulling the strings. Just Agrippina's puppet.
Poison in his ear, absolutely. And Agrippina feels her influence slipping, so she makes a desperate, fatal move.
What does she do?
She started openly backing Britannicus, hinting maybe she'd picked the wrong son.
Whoops. Big mistake with a paranoid son who'd already murdered Britannicus.
Huge mistake. That sealed her fate. Nero decided his own mother had to die.
But killing your own mother, the Empress, that's not easy. She was popular. She was paranoid about poison herself.
So Nero comes up with this ridiculously elaborate plan. A special boat designed so the cabin roof would collapse and crush her, make it look like an accident.
An engineering marvel of murder.
Right, March 23rd, 59 AD. Agrippina gets on the boat, the trap is sprung, but it messes up.
It goes wrong.
Yeah. The debris kills her friend instead. Agrippina, showing incredible survival instincts, just throws herself into the water. She's a strong swimmer.
No way.
Yes. The crew tries to bash her with oars, but somehow she makes it to shore. Nero must have been terrified.
Okay, so the accident plan is blown. She knows he tried to kill her.
Totally blown. Panic stations for Nero. He knows he has hours, maybe, before she rallies support. He turns to Anicetus, the fleet admiral. Finish it. Kill her. Tonight.
Just like that.
Just like that. Soldiers surround her villa, find her in her bedroom, still wet from the sea. She sees them, she knows.
And her last words, so defiant.
Strike my wound first, she supposedly said. Let them drive their swords into the body that bore such a monster. Chilling dignity right to the end. Then the soldiers, well, they did it. Hacked her down.
Wow.
When Nero got the news, his first feeling wasn't grief. It was relief. She was gone. The one person who made him, who tried to control him.
But that act, matricide, that must have changed things. Changed him.
Absolutely. Romans could handle political killing, maybe. But your own mother, that violated everything sacred. The rumors started flying that he went to see her naked body, commented on it.
Horrible.
Whether it's true or not, it captures something, right? He'd crossed the line. He wasn't just cruel anymore. He was becoming something. Unnatural. Inhuman.
And with her gone, and the other advisors losing their grip, the brakes were truly off.
Completely off. Nero dives headfirst into pleasure. Chariot racing, performing on stage not just for friends now, but bigger audiences, sexual exploits that shocked even Roman nobles.
And the murders continued. Less strategy, more. Sport.
Seems like it.
Yeah.
Potential rivals like Marcus Junius Silanus, Rubelius Plautus, gone.
Yeah.
Just because they had imperial blood.
And those advisors who tried to restrain him?
Their days were numbered. Berus, the Praetorian prefect, died suddenly. Officially throat cancer. Unofficially.
Poison again?
Many suspected it.
Yeah.
And Seneca, the philosopher, forced into retirement. By 62 AD, 5 years in, Nero had gotten rid of anyone who might say no.
Answerable to nobody. Drunk on power.
Totally. And that's when he turned on his wife, Octavia.
His wife? What had she done?
Her crimes. Failing to get pregnant.
Ah.
And, well, just being in the way of his obsession with Poppaea. That was enough for Nero.
But Octavia was popular, wasn't she? People liked her.
Very popular. Seen as virtuous. Connected to the liked Emperor Claudius. Nero tried divorce, fake adultery charges, tortured her slaves for confessions. But the public wasn't buying it.
They rioted.
Big time. Riots broke out when he announced he'd marry Poppaea. For a moment, maybe Nero hesitated, but Poppaea pushed him, convinced him Octavia was plotting against him.
So Octavia gets arrested, exiled.
And then executed. Just 20 years old, her head was cut off, brought back to Rome.
And presented to Poppaea, like a wedding gift.
A grotesque wedding gift. 12 days later, Nero and Poppaea got married in this lavish ceremony.
Unbelievable. And then came the fire.
The Great Fire of Rome, July 18th, 64 AD. Starts small, near the Circus Maximus, but it's dry wooden buildings, strong wind.
A recipe for a disaster.
Exactly. It raged for 6 days and 7 nights. 3/4 of the city gone. Thousands dead. Just unimaginable chaos and suffering.
And where was Nero? What was he doing while a city burned?
Well, the sources differ a bit. But the most famous account, the one that sticks, comes from Tacitus. He suggests Nero wasn't just absent, he saw an opportunity.
An opportunity? In that inferno?
According to Tacitus, yeah. As Rome burned, Nero supposedly went up a tower, got out his lyre, and started singing about the fall of Troy, treating the disaster as, like, artistic inspiration.
While people are burning alive below.
Exactly. Whether it happened exactly like that or not, it tells you something profound about him, doesn't it? So detached from human feeling, he could find beauty in that horror.
And after the fire, utter devastation. Most of Rome in ashes. Hundreds of thousands homeless.
But for Nero, not a disaster, canvas. He immediately starts planning his new Rome, the Domus Aurea, the Golden House.
And this wasn't just rebuilding, this was insane extravagance.
Oh, beyond belief. A palace complex covering maybe a third of the burned city. 300 acres, rotating dining rooms, gold leaf everywhere, gems, ivory, artificial lakes.
And that massive statue of himself.
A 120-foot bronze statue of Nero. Colossus-sized ego. But the real obscenity wasn't just the scale, it was the timing. They were still pulling bodies from the rubble when his crew started clearing land for his pleasure palace.
People must have been furious, whispering it was him who started the fire.
The whispers got louder and louder. Nero heard them. He needed a scapegoat, fast.
And he picked the Christians.
Perfect targets. A small, strange foreign cult. Worshipped a crucified criminal. Talked about the world ending in fire. Easy to blame.
And the persecution wasn't just execution, it was spectacle. Sadistic theater.
Masterpieces of cruelty.
Hey.
He didn't just kill them, he turned their deaths into horrifying entertainment. Covered in pitch, used his human torches for his garden parties.
Human torches?
Yeah, sewn into animal skins, torn apart by dogs, crucified in elaborate scenes, sometimes dressed as mythological figures. And Nero would often be there directing it, like a perverse stage manager.
Adjusting the lighting on crucifixions, critiquing the screams.
Yeah.
It's monstrous.
Well, truly monstrous.
And things just kept getting worse. Poppaea gets pregnant again in 65 AD. Their first child, a daughter, had died young.
Yeah, Claudia Augusta. Died at 4 months. Maybe fatherhood could have changed him, but no.
Because Poppaea died too, while pregnant again. And Nero killed her.
Suetonius says he kicked her, violently, in the stomach, during an argument about his chariot racing obsession.
Kicked his pregnant wife.
She collapsed, bled out. The unborn child died with her. And Nero apparently watched with irritation, not remorse, just annoyance that she dared argue with him.
There are no words.
Losing Poppaea left this void. She was, in her own way, his partner. So what does he do?
He decides to replace her with Sporus.
Boris, a young slave boy who apparently looked like Poppaea. Nero saw him, and this twisted plan formed.
Castration.
Had the boy castrated, forced him into this horrifying transformation, dressed him in women's clothes, styled his hair, makeup, taught him how to act feminine.
And then he married him.
A grotesque public ceremony. Sporus in a bride's veil. Nero called him his wife, his empress. took him out in public like that.
While subjecting him to horrific abuse in private.
Unspeakable abuse, forcing Sporus to play Papilla in his sick fantasies. It wasn't just cruelty, it was his ultimate act of control. Trying to literally remake what he'd destroyed. The pathology is just chilling.
And outside the palace, the terror spreads. He starts forcing nobles into degrading acts.
Yeah, making senators fight as gladiators, perform on stage.
Yeah.
Humiliating them. Many chose suicide instead, including Seneca, his old tutor.
And those nighttime rampages.
Legendary. Nero and his gang of rich buddies, disguised, roaming Rome, attacking people for kicks, beating shopkeepers, raping women, robbing, sometimes just killing for fun.
And if you fought back, treason charges.
Exactly. No winning.
And the dinner parties. Beyond decadent.
Oh, completely depraved. Sunset to dawn orgies, basically. Food, drink, sure, but also elaborate sexual shows, torture sessions, even live executions as dinner entertainment.
He performed during these.
Often. Singing while slaves were tortured, playing his lyre while prisoners were fed to lions. He had this bizarre idea that real suffering enhanced art, made the music sweeter.
It's pure madness. And in the middle of all this, he decides to go on tour.
The Grand Greek Tour. 66 to 67 AD, a year-long ego trip. He competes in everything, singing, acting, chariot racing.
And wins everything. Surprise, surprise.
Wins every single event. The fix was blatant. Famously at the Olympics, he falls off his chariot, doesn't even finish the race, and they still declare him the winner.
Because his intentions were noble.
Something like that. He comes back with over 1,800 victory crowns. Parades through Rome like a conquering general after an arts festival.
While bankrupting the treasury to pay for it all.
Exactly. New taxes on everyone. People were furious, embarrassed, angry. That was really the tipping point for the wider empire.
Support just evaporates.
Completely. Word gets out. The legions start hearing these stories. Revolts break out. Vindex in Gaul, Galba in Spain.
And Nero's reaction, initially.
Still delusional. Sees it as more drama. Plans revenge fantasies, writes songs about it.
But reality finally bites.
It has to. The revolt spreads. Galba's marching on Rome. The Praetorian Guard, his own guards, start talking to Galba's people secretly. The Senate meets behind closed doors. Even the ordinary Romans have had enough.
The end comes fast for tyrants like that.
It often does. They believe their own hype right until the floor vanishes beneath them.
June 8th, 68 AD, Nero wakes up.
And the Praetorian Guard is gone. Just abandon him. Then the Senate declares him a public enemy, sentenced to death by flogging.
The most degrading death.
For the first time, he's utterly alone. Bodyguards, friends, slaves, poof, gone. He's wandering the empty palace, weeping, raging, calling for Sporus. Maybe the only person left who couldn't physically leave him?
Galba's army is closing in. He knows it's over, but he still can't face it head on.
No dignity. He plans to flee to Parthia. Totally unrealistic.
Right.
Tries to find allies. Nope, nobody wants to know him.
So he runs, sneaks out of Rome like a thief.
To a villa owned by his freedman Phaon, a few miles out, on foot, cloaked, with Phaon, his secretary Epaphroditus, a valet Neophytus, and Sporus, still in drag.
What a bizarre, pathetic little group.
A grotesque parody of an imperial entourage. They get to the villa. Nero's too scared to use the door. They dig a tunnel under the wall. He crawls through into this tiny basement room, hiding like a trapped rat.
And there, in that cramped room, reality finally hits him like a ton of bricks.
June 9th dawns. News keeps coming. Galba's in Rome. Senate confirms the sentence. Dragged naked, flogged, dumped in the Tiber. The guard is hunting him.
But the final blow wasn't even the death sentence, was it?
Maybe not. A courier arrives and says his servants are looting the palace, taking his gold statues, his art, even his costumes.
His costumes?
And that's what breaks him. He collapses, sobbing like a child. My things! They're stealing my beautiful things, my costumes, my lyres! Weeping over possessions, not the people he killed, not the city he ruined.
Still utterly self-absorbed.
Completely. Epaphroditus tries to snap him out of it. Caesar, act now. They won't show mercy.
Reminds him of his own cruelty.
It works, sort of. Panic replaces self-pity.
I can't die like this. I'm Caesar, an artist.
The delusion holds firm. Phaon suggests suicide. Die like Caesar should.
But Nero's a coward.
I can't, he whined. My hands. They're artists' hands. I've never hurt anyone personally.
Yeah.
Breathtaking delusion.
So Neophytus tries a different tactic. Think of it as your greatest role.
And for a second, Nero lights up. Starts planning his death scene. Yes. Magnificent. They'll write songs.
But the soldiers are almost there. Hoofbeats getting louder.
He grabs a dagger, trembling. I can't do it alone. Help me.
Epaphroditus steps in.
Nero makes a weak stab at his own throat. Agonizing, but not fatal. Epaphroditus shoves the dagger deeper.
And his last words?
Qualis artifex perio. What an artist dies in me. Right to the bitter, narcissistic end.
The soldiers burst in moments later, find him dead, Sporus kneeling beside the body.
And when the news hits Rome,
Not grief. Celebration, people dancing in the streets, putting flowers on the statues of his victims, smashing every image of Nero they could find.
relief across the whole empire. Festivals broke out everywhere. Never had an emperor's death been so welcomed.
The Senate ordered the damnatio memoria. Erase him. Chisel his name off monuments, melt statues, remove his face from coins.
His golden house, the Domus Aurea, torn down. Eventually the Colosseum built partly on its site. Poetic justice.
And Sporus, what happened to him?
Uncertain fate. Briefly taken in by the next short-lived emperor, Otho, then likely vanished into obscurity. Or worse.
So what's the takeaway here? What does Nero's story teach us?
Well, the historians who wrote about him, Tacitus, Suetonius, Cassius Dio, they struggled to find words, didn't they? Disgust is palpable. His death ended the Julio-Claudian line, sure, but it was also this huge warning flare about absolute power.
How the system failed.
Exactly. How an empire could fall under the whim of one deeply disturbed individual. And the parallels to later tyrants. They're chillingly familiar, aren't they? That mix of grandiose self-belief and staggering cruelty.
Believing their own genius justifies anything.
Right. But there's that poetic justice, too. Lived by violence, died in terror and pain, demanded worship, died abandoned like a criminal, and he learned nothing. Still thought he was a misunderstood artist, not a monster.
So, something for you, our listeners, to think about. Nero's final pathetic whimper is this stark reminder, isn't it? That even absolute power isn't permanent. History has a way of catching up. Where else have we seen unchecked power lead to such a disastrous end, but maybe, just maybe, a liberating one for everyone else?